You finally escape them. The door shuts behind you. The shouting stops. The chaos fades. The silence feels unnatural. Your chest still pounds. Your hands tremble slightly. You whisper, "It's over." But your body doesn't believe you. Something still feels unfinished. 3 weeks pass in silence. No fights. No slammed doors. No dramatic apologies. Your phone stays dark at night. No sudden "I miss you" messages. No emotional explosions. Everything is calm. Everything is still. And yet, you feel restless. You don't miss the insults. You don't miss the anxiety. You don't miss crying alone. You miss the rush. The intensity. The unpredictable affection. The sudden warmth after emotional coldness. The explosive reunions. The chaos felt alive. Why does poison feel like passion? Why does anxiety feel like attraction? Why does instability feel magnetic? Your mind says danger. Your logic says run. But your body leans forward. Your pulse quickens. Familiar chaos feels strangely safe. This is not weakness. This is conditioning. This is neural wiring. Your brain adapted once. It memorized emotional patterns. It recorded unpredictability. It stored intensity as significance. It learned that chaos means connection. And now it confuses survival with love. Somewhere in your past, affection was inconsistent. Sometimes warm. Sometimes withdrawn. Sometimes praise. Sometimes silence. You learned to scan faces. You studied tone changes. You predicted moods. You became hyper-aware to stay safe. Unpredictable love sharpens attention. Your nervous system becomes alert. Your heart beats faster. Your breath becomes shallow. Every glance matters. Every pause feels loaded. You anticipate shifts constantly. Uncertainty becomes stimulating. This is trauma bonding. Pain followed by relief. Distance followed by affection. Coldness followed by warmth. Fear followed by comfort. The contrast strengthens attachment. The reunion feels electric. The cycle feels powerful. The bond becomes addictive. It works like a slot machine. You pull once. Nothing. You pull again. Silence. Then suddenly, reward. Bright lights. Emotional fireworks. Your brain locks onto possibility. And you keep pulling. Toxic love follows the same formula. Withdrawal. Silence. Distance. Then sudden affection. A message appears. An apology arrives. A hug feels overwhelming. Dopamine floods your brain. Relief feels like ecstasy. And you mistake relief for love. Your brain runs on prediction. It constantly asks, what happens next? Stability feels predictable. Predictable feels safe. But predictable is quiet. Predictable is calm. There is no spike. No surge. No dramatic chemical reward. When love is steady, dopamine flows gently. It rises slowly. It stabilizes. It does not explode. There are no fireworks. No emotional earthquakes. Just warmth. Just peace. Just oxygen. But when love is uncertain, dopamine spikes. When affection is delayed, your brain anticipates. When attention is withdrawn, your body tenses. When connection returns, relief explodes. Uncertainty amplifies reward. The spike feels powerful. The contrast feels intoxicating. The brain is addicted to uncertainty. It obsesses over what it cannot predict. It chases incomplete patterns. It fixates on unresolved tension. It wants closure. It wants confirmation. It wants the reward. And unpredictability keeps it hooked. This is called intermittent reinforcement. Rewards given randomly. Affection delivered unpredictably. Approval appearing without warning. The pattern is inconsistent. The brain cannot map it. So it tries harder. It becomes obsessed with decoding it. In experiments, animals pressed levers more when rewards were random. Not less. More. They pressed obsessively. They pressed desperately. They pressed long after reward stopped. Random reward created stronger attachment. Humans behave the same way. We check our phones repeatedly. We wait for replies. We stare at typing dots. We refresh messages. We analyze silence. We overthink tone. We chase the next emotional hit. The less consistent the affection, the stronger the craving. The more unpredictable the love, the deeper the attachment. Your brain confuses rarity with value. It confuses relief with reward. It confuses survival with connection. You are not chasing the person. You are chasing the spike. You are chasing the surge of dopamine. You are chasing the moment relief replaces fear. You are chasing the end of uncertainty. And that moment feels like love. But it is not love. It is chemistry. It is neurological reward circuitry. It is anticipation and release. It is tension and relief. It is anxiety ending briefly. It only feels profound because the contrast is extreme. And extreme feels unforgettable. Your nervous system remembers everything. It remembers raised voices. It remembers silence at dinner tables. It remembers walking on eggshells. It remembers waiting for moods to change. It remembers tension in the air. It stores emotional weather like data. And it replays it when love feels similar. If love once felt unpredictable, your body adapted. It learned to anticipate danger. It learned to scan faces instantly. It learned to detect micro-shifts in tone. It became hyper-alert. Calm never trained you. Chaos did. Hypervigilance feels like awareness. But it is anxiety. It feels sharp. It feels intelligent. It feels prepared. But it is survival mode. And survival mode mistakes intensity for intimacy. When someone is calm, your body does not react. No spike. No tension. No emotional surge. It feels flat. It feels unfamiliar. It feels almost suspicious. Peace feels like emptiness. But when someone is volatile, your nervous system wakes up. Your pulse accelerates. Your thoughts sharpen. Your senses heighten. You feel alive. You feel engaged. You feel needed. And that feels powerful. Chaos triggers chemistry. Not real chemistry. Conditioned chemistry. Your brain confuses activation with attraction. It confuses adrenaline with desire. It confuses survival signals with romance. This is where the illusion forms. You call it spark. You call it connection. You call it intensity. But intensity is not compatibility. It is stimulation. And stimulation fades without chaos. Healthy love feels steady. It feels predictable. It feels safe. It does not create emotional cliffs. It does not create dramatic reunions. It does not shake your nervous system. It feels grounded. But if your system was trained in chaos, steadiness feels dull. Stability feels boring. Safety feels unfamiliar. Your body waits for impact. It waits for the drop. It waits for something to explode. And when nothing explodes, you feel restless. You feel disconnected. You feel understimulated. So you chase what feels familiar. Even if familiar once hurt you. Even if familiar once broke you. This is the turning point. A healthy person enters your life. They are calm. They are consistent. They do not disappear. They do not threaten to leave. They do not create storms. And something inside you feels uneasy. They reply on time. They communicate clearly. They apologize without manipulation. They show up when they say they will. There are no games. No emotional traps. No dramatic highs. Just steadiness. And your body does not spike. Your heart does not race. There is no adrenaline. No dramatic tension. No urgent longing. No obsessive thinking. It feels quiet. Almost too quiet. Your mind begins searching for flaws. You look for red flags. You question their sincerity. You analyze their tone. You test their patience. You create distance. You wait for the storm. When no storm comes, you feel confused. Calm feels suspicious. Kindness feels unfamiliar. Stability feels fragile. You brace for impact that never arrives. And the waiting becomes uncomfortable. So you pull away. Not consciously, but subtly. You respond slower. You become colder. You create emotional distance. You manufacture doubt. You test their reaction. Sometimes you start arguments. Small ones. Meaningless ones. You raise your voice. You accuse them of things. You provoke tension. You recreate chaos. Because chaos feels familiar. And when they respond calmly, it unsettles you. When they do not escalate, it frustrates you. When they stay steady, it feels unnatural. You almost want them to explode. To confirm your expectation. Because if they explode, you understand the script. If they withdraw, you recognize the pattern. If they become volatile, you feel oriented again. Chaos restores familiarity. And this is how people leave healthy love. Not because it is wrong, but because it is unfamiliar. They walk away from peace. They return to intensity. They return to adrenaline. They return to what feels like home. When you return to chaos, it feels electric again. The tension returns. The arguments return. The late-night messages return. The emotional highs come back. The dopamine spikes again. Your body feels alive. Your mind feels consumed. The cycle restarts. At first, it feels passionate. It feels deep. It feels meaningful. The intensity convinces you it matters. The volatility convinces you it is rare. The chaos convinces you it is real. But intensity is not depth. Slowly, your world narrows. You think about them constantly. You analyze every word. You replay every conversation. You anticipate every shift. Your emotional energy centers around their moods. Your identity begins to orbit them. You begin adjusting yourself. You soften opinions. You avoid topics. You shrink reactions. You silence needs. You suppress boundaries. You become smaller to keep the peace. You convince yourself it is compromise. You call it patience. You call it understanding. You call it love. But you are negotiating your own identity. You are trading authenticity for approval. Manipulation rarely arrives loudly. It arrives softly. A small criticism. A subtle comparison. A delayed response. A sudden withdrawal. Just enough to destabilize you. Just enough to keep you chasing. When they pull away, anxiety floods in. When they return, relief overwhelms you. The contrast feels profound. The reunion feels magical. But you are not experiencing love. You are experiencing relief from fear. Over time, your confidence erodes. You question your memory. You question your reactions. You question your worth. You wonder if you are too sensitive, too emotional, too demanding. Gaslighting works quietly. It rewrites small details. It reframes events. It shifts blame gently. It makes you doubt your perception. And once you doubt yourself, control becomes easier. And now the trap tightens. You are no longer chasing love. You are chasing validation. You are chasing certainty. You are chasing reassurance. You are chasing the next emotional high. And the cycle owns you. At this stage, anxiety feels normal. Your stomach is tight every day. Your thoughts race constantly. You check your phone repeatedly. You overanalyze every silence. You brace for emotional impact. Calm now feels foreign. Tension feels like home. You begin normalizing disrespect. Small insults become jokes. Dismissal becomes moodiness. Neglect becomes busy. You rationalize their behavior. You minimize your pain. You adjust your standards downward. You tell yourself they are misunderstood. You defend them to friends. You hide details. You edit the story. You protect their image. You protect the illusion. Because admitting the truth would hurt more. The relationship becomes your emotional climate. When they are warm, the sun rises. When they withdraw, the sky darkens. Your mood mirrors theirs. Your stability depends on them. Your peace is no longer internal. Dependency grows quietly. You wait for their reassurance. You wait for their approval. You wait for their affection. Your emotional center shifts outward. Your self-worth becomes conditional. When they pull away, panic rises fast. Your chest tightens instantly. Your thoughts spiral. You imagine abandonment. You imagine loss. You imagine being unworthy. The fear feels overwhelming. When they return, relief washes over you. Your muscles relax. Your breath slows. You feel grateful. Almost euphoric. The contrast feels profound. The reunion feels like salvation. But this relief is temporary. The cycle repeats again. Distance. Anxiety. Reunion. Relief. Each loop tightens the bond. Each contrast deepens attachment. The pattern becomes familiar. Over time, chaos becomes your baseline. You expect tension. You anticipate instability. You prepare for emotional drops. Stability now feels unnatural. Peace feels suspicious. And this is the trap's deepest layer. You begin craving the spike itself. Not the person. Not the love. The spike. The surge. The emotional explosion. The adrenaline becomes addictive. Most people believe power is loud. They imagine control looks like domination. But real psychological power is silent. It hides behind politeness. It disguises itself as concern. It moves without being noticed. And the most dangerous manipulators never raise their voice. They whisper. They let you convince yourself. And by the time you realize it, the cage is already built. You have been influenced more than you think. Not by force. Not by threats. But by repetition. Familiarity breeds trust. And trust lowers defenses. The more you hear something, the more it feels true. Even if it isn't. This is called the illusion of truth effect. And it shapes beliefs without your permission. Social control rarely feels like control. It feels like normalcy. It feels like culture. It feels like tradition. You comply because everyone else does. You agree because disagreement feels unsafe. And slowly, the line between choice and conditioning disappears. You call it freedom. But is it? The fear of isolation is stronger than logic. Humans evolved to survive in groups. Rejection once meant death. That fear still lives inside you. That's why public shame works. That's why cancel culture spreads. That's why silence feels safer than truth. And manipulators know this instinct well. You don't need chains to trap someone. You only need approval. Reward compliance. Punish resistance. Smile while doing it. The brain learns quickly. It chooses safety over rebellion. And before long, the person polices themselves. Self-censorship becomes survival. The most effective manipulation feels like love. It feels supportive. It feels protective. But protection can become possession. Care can become control. I'm doing this for you, they say. And you believe them. Because questioning kindness feels cruel. There is a tactic called intermittent reinforcement. It's simple. Give attention randomly. Give affection unpredictably. The brain becomes addicted. You chase the next reward. You tolerate more pain for smaller returns. Casinos use it. Toxic relationships use it too. You think you are rational. But emotion always speaks first. Logic only justifies afterward. That's why fear-based messaging spreads faster. That's why outrage dominates headlines. Emotional activation overrides analysis. And those who trigger emotion control attention. The more uncertain the world feels, the more people crave authority. Clarity feels comforting. Strong voices feel safe. Even if they are wrong. Even if they are dangerous. Certainty is seductive. And in chaos, seduction wins. Now ask yourself something uncomfortable. How many of your beliefs are truly yours? How many were planted? Repeated? Rewarded? Reinforced? The scariest manipulation is the one you defend. Because when you protect the cage, you never try to escape. You confuse adrenaline with attraction. Your heart races. Your palms sweat. Your thoughts spiral. You feel alive. You call it love. But it is fear. Fear misread as passion. Stress misread as intimacy. And your brain does not know the difference. Calm feels boring. Stability feels uninteresting. Your nervous system craves peaks. Your brain interprets quiet as emptiness. Your body seeks the spike. Your mind chases the drama. The unknown excites more than the familiar. You mistake inconsistency for value. Unpredictable attention feels precious. Delayed messages feel meaningful. Abrupt withdrawal feels important. Your brain equates scarcity with desire. You crave what is unreliable. You chase chaos like a drug. Every emotional spike reinforces the pattern. Relief after tension creates addiction. Highs feel euphoric. Lows feel crushing. The contrast imprints itself on the nervous system. You seek extremes. You avoid moderation. Your perception of love is now filtered through intensity. You no longer recognize calm as connection. You no longer recognize safety as intimacy. You chase spikes, not presence. You confuse survival cues with affection. When someone treats you well, you feel empty. When someone withdraws, you feel alive. Your nervous system is miscalibrated. Your body mistakes anxiety for arousal. Your mind mistakes stress for passion. You are addicted to extremes. This is the dark paradox. You leave stability for chaos. You leave peace for volatility. You leave love for intensity. And you convince yourself it is choice. You call it freedom. But it is a trap you cannot see. Your patterns are invisible chains. They shape your desires. They define your actions. They dictate who you stay with. They dictate who you leave. And every repetition reinforces the cage around your heart. Even when someone is safe, you resist. Even when love is consistent, you doubt. Even when calm is offered, you crave drama. Your brain prefers spikes. Your body prefers tension. Your mind craves the familiar chaos. And that is the cruelest truth. You are not seeking love. You are seeking intensity. You are addicted to emotional roller coasters. You are trapped in a cycle of craving. You chase spikes. You fear stability. You misinterpret peace as emptiness. And you repeat the same mistakes endlessly. Emotional devastation spreads quietly. One person's chaos infects another. One pattern repeats across relationships. Families feel tension. Friendships erode. Trust fractures. Empathy strains. And communities normalize dysfunction. Societal ripple effects are subtle. Emotional instability breeds miscommunication. Miscommunication breeds mistrust. Mistrust breeds isolation. Isolation breeds conformity to unhealthy norms. And everyone becomes a carrier of tension. Moral dilemmas emerge. You know the right choice. You see the truth. But emotional addiction clouds judgment. You compromise values. You justify deception. You sacrifice integrity. You convince yourself it is necessary. Others watch silently. They see pain. They see chaos. They hope you escape. But fear is contagious. They normalize patterns. They repeat cycles unknowingly. And the system feeds itself. Existential reflection emerges. You question why this happens. You question why humans crave chaos. You question why patterns repeat across generations. You realize the mind is not always rational. The heart is not always wise. The body remembers what the mind forgets. And survival instincts masquerade as desire. Some cycles never end. They spiral across lifetimes. One trauma triggers another. One habit reinforces another. One craving infects the next. And the invisible threads of conditioning stretch across time, unseen but felt. Knowledge of the pattern does not guarantee escape. Awareness is only the first step. Temptation is constant. Old neural pathways resist change. Emotional spikes still seduce. And the cycle waits patiently for a moment of weakness. The mind justifies everything. Every compromise. Every return. Every chase. Every obsession. Every misinterpretation. You rationalize toxicity as excitement. Pain as passion. Control as care. And freedom as illusion. And society rewards the drama. Extremes attract attention. Emotional spikes generate influence. Chaos is amplified. Calm is ignored. Stability is overlooked. And the system perpetuates what destabilizes. Now reflect on your own story. How many cycles have you repeated? How many spikes have you chased? How many moments of peace have you ignored? Awareness is not comfort. But it is the key. The key to seeing the cage. The key to deciding whether you will stay or escape. The cage is invisible. You cannot see it while inside. Every choice feels free. Every desire feels natural. Every craving feels authentic. But the pattern owns you. Awareness alone begins to crack the illusion. To escape, you must observe without judgment. See the pattern. Name it. Feel it. Acknowledge it. Understanding is not surrender. Awareness is power. Observation illuminates the path others cannot see. Freedom begins in stillness. Calm is the first act of resistance. Choosing peace over spike rewires the nervous system. Stability becomes a rebellion. Safety becomes defiance. And the mind slowly relearns desire. Love is not adrenaline. Love is not fear. Love does not manipulate. Love does not demand surrender. Love grows in safety. Love nourishes identity. Love amplifies authenticity. Control masquerades as care. Manipulation masquerades as attention. Familiar chaos masquerades as excitement. Recognizing the disguise is painful. Seeing the truth is uncomfortable. But truth is liberation. Awareness opens doors. Patterns are not your fault. Conditioning is universal. Neural pathways are old. Trauma is inherited. Systems exploit instincts. And understanding does not blame, it illuminates. Reflection is uncomfortable. But reflection is necessary. To question is to awaken. To question desire is to reclaim autonomy. To question attachment is to regain clarity. And every small insight chips away at the cage. The mind is a labyrinth. Some corridors are dangerous. Some doors are illusions. Some paths lead to spikes. Some paths lead to peace. Choosing awareness allows navigation. Choosing calm allows escape. Choosing reflection allows freedom. Life is a mirror of the nervous system. If chaos dominates inside, chaos dominates outside. If fear drives action, fear dominates relationships. If intensity is addiction, intensity drives choices. Awareness can reverse the mirror. Awareness can stabilize perception. And finally, the haunting truth: the cage is not made of bars. It is made of repetition. It is made of craving. It is made of misread signals. It is made of old survival instincts. Awareness is the key. Reflection is the doorway. Freedom begins when you choose peace over spike. The final unraveling begins subtly. Patterns that were invisible now emerge. The mind notices repetitions. The heart recognizes craving. Emotional spikes are exposed. Comfort is redefined. Identity whispers itself back. Awareness sharpens perception. Moral dilemmas confront you now. Every choice has consequence. Every action is measured. Every craving tested. You see the cost of attachment. You see the cost of indulgence. You feel the weight of unconscious habits. And reflection becomes heavy with insight. Ripple effects extend outward. Your chaos touches others. Friends, family, strangers. Emotional spikes travel silently. Trust erodes quietly. Relationships fracture. Stability is disrupted. And you finally see the network of influence you have inhabited. Awareness is uncomfortable. It reveals mistakes. It exposes addiction. It illuminates dependencies. It uncovers misread cues. It highlights the chase for spikes. It clarifies what was hidden. And the truth is heavy. Reflection can hurt. Recognition can sting. Acceptance can be bitter. But discomfort is a doorway. Pain is a teacher. Realization is a key. You are not powerless. Awareness gives choice. Reflection gives agency. Patterns do not define you. They only reveal wiring. They only show instincts. They only expose vulnerabilities. You can observe without succumbing. You can choose without compulsion. You can recalibrate without guilt. And every small action matters. The mind is a labyrinth, but you hold the map. Your nervous system signals, but your consciousness guides. Instinct warns, but awareness decides. You are not trapped forever. You can rewrite the narrative. You can choose calm over spike. You can prioritize peace over chaos. Every reflection is a chance. Every pause is a choice. Every breath is a reset. Every insight is a step forward. Emotional spikes lose control. Attachment becomes conscious. Patterns become visible. And the cage is less invisible. And yet, the haunting truth remains. The cage can return if vigilance fades. The spikes can seduce again. Calm can feel suspicious. Familiar chaos can feel like home. Awareness is fragile. Reflection is a practice. Freedom is a decision repeated daily. So ask yourself, quietly, are you chasing love, or are you chasing the spike? Are you seeking peace, or are you addicted to chaos? Are you aware, or are you repeating patterns unconsciously? The cage is real, but recognition is the first step. And the choice is yours. The final lesson is simple, yet cruel. Patterns shape desire. Craving shapes choice. Instinct shapes attachment. Awareness shapes freedom. Reflection shapes possibility. Chaos can be seductive. Calm can be alien. And understanding is the only tool that matters. Every choice is a test. Every pause is a signal. Every craving is a reminder. Every spike is a challenge. Every pattern is a lesson. You are not helpless. You are observer. You are participant. You are responsible for the next step. Life rewards awareness. Life punishes unconsciousness. Life teaches through repetition. Life mirrors the mind. Life exposes the cage. Life shows the spikes. Life offers reflection. And life always asks for choice. Emotional spikes will seduce. Intensity will lure. Chaos will whisper. Fear will persuade. Calm will seem boring. Stability will feel alien. And every decision is a crossroads between old addiction and new freedom. The cage exists in repetition. The cage exists in craving. The cage exists in misread signals. The cage exists in old instincts. But recognition loosens the bars. Reflection widens the gap. Awareness cracks the walls. And choice opens the door. Freedom is not guaranteed. Awareness is fragile. Reflection is fleeting. Every spike is a temptation. Every pattern can reassert itself. Every habit can return. But vigilance keeps the cage from closing. And conscious choice sustains liberation. The mind can be rewritten. The body can be retrained. The nervous system can recalibrate. Patterns can be broken. Cravings can be redirected. Spikes can be resisted. And slowly, stability becomes familiar. Peace becomes trusted. Calm becomes cherished. Reflection is the mirror of freedom. Awareness is the light in darkness. Every insight is a key. Every observation is a step. Every pause is resistance. Every choice is liberation. Every breath is proof. And the mind begins to rebuild itself. The final haunting truth lingers. You are never completely free. Patterns can return. Spikes can seduce again. Calm can feel suspicious. But knowing the trap is the first victory. Seeing the cage is the first escape. And remembering choice is the first liberation. So ask yourself this, boldly: are you chasing love, or are you addicted to the spike? Are you choosing calm, or are you craving chaos? Awareness is your lantern. Reflection is your key. The cage is visible. The choice is yours. What will you decide?